welcome G. Let's start Kotlin tutorial. Today I'm going to discuss on the collections. So let's discuss what the meaning of collections and Kotlin as a standard library, how the set of APIs, set of methods, set of interface offer for us so that we can take the leverage of existing library and fulfill our the requirement while implementing, while writing the software, while writing the code. So what do you mean by collections? As the meaning say, collections just a collect set of data. So for the in the Kotlin, so the Kotlin standard library provide a comprehensive set of tools for managing collections. A group of variable of items, possibly zero size and or more size. So simply collections is a set of data. Okay, set of data. Maybe here data I'm talking about maybe less set of employee data or list of department data or list of animal data, any kind of objects we are talking. So whenever generally for declaring one variable we are using the your simple data types variable declarations where we are holding the one variable. Sometimes we need to store the set of values. Generally we can also use the concept of array, and array allow to store the fixed set of values, fixed set of data. So the concept to extend the more this instead of array, why not some standard library offering the set of additional function. So you can say collections usually contains a number of objects. Okay, and this number may also be zero. You can say collections you can create initially. Whenever you create collections, at that time there is no any object stored in that collection. After that you can store one object, two object, three object, and this is the one major benefit compared to the array. If you are going to store the array, in the array declaration you have to specify initially I am going to store the 5 items, a 5 object. So initially you have to specify the array size, okay, and then you have to add the 5 element in the array. So here collections API offer you kind of flexibility when you don't know the initial size of an object which you are going to store. In that case or situation, this collections framework offer a variety of functionality as well as. So please be note contains a number of objects and of the same type. Objects in a collections are called element or items or object. So whenever you are creating any collections, and in this collection you are storing object 1, object 2, object 3, object 4. So these objects generally in a collection terminology known as elements are sometime item. And in generally a Kotlin as a framework offer you are create the collections of similar object, maybe collections of your employee class object, collections of your maybe department class object, collections of any kind of similar object. But Kotlin offer you can do any kind of collections. Not, but the recommendation as a programming, so we know if this set kind of this collection is. So this way here you can say is generally a recommended way we can create collections for the same type. So if you talking about the Kotlin, so following collection types are supported in Kotlin. In general, other programming languages like Java and C has, they also offer a similar kind of collections. The first collections we talk about the list, second collections we talk about the set, and third collections we talk about the map. So these are the very basic foundations of concept in the collections. So, so question is that when and when situation you are going to use the list as a collections or set as a map. Okay, so list is an order collections with access to element by its indexes. Okay, so whenever you want to order collections, and that collections element you want to access by your indexes to look like in a your array position. So in these situations, you can use the list. Okay, and the one important point here about the elements can occur more than one in the list. So might be same object you can store in the two indexes or three indexes. Okay, so and the set is just the same like a collections of a unique element. So when you want to create the collections, and in this collection you want to store all the object should be unique. Okay, so this kind of collections we can prefer use as a set. Okay, and sometimes we have here in the list and set, just we have a collections and we are just putting object 1, object 2, object 3, object 4, object 4. Okay, but sometimes I want to putting your object in collections some defined manner, like each object have some key, that's key 1 key value and the value. Similarly, key 2 have some value. So this kind of collections generally known as a dictionary or map is a set of key value pair. So that why this concept of key value, sometimes we know the key of this so easily we can get those values. So for fast and constant times access retrieves object from collections, we generally use a map. So map offer you can access element by your key. Okay. So this is the, and in this whenever we are talking about the map, so generally if you go to designs a diagram like this, the map have a two kind of attributes. One your key, another is the value. And now key 1 value 1, key 2 value 3, key 3 value 3 we are storing. So here the key element are unique. Key are unique, and each of they map to directly one value. So one key map to another value, one key map to another value, and the value can be duplicate. So key is the unique and value which the value you are going to store that can be duplicate. Okay. So in this way, the basic collections concept is a list to store the collections of the object, map we do contain duplicate, and the set for the unique collections, and map just kind of a key and value concept where we are going to store. So Kotlin, this is the basic concept Kotlin about the. So Kotlin say कि all about the all the standard library in Kotlin provides the implementers of basic collections type like a set, list, and map, and as a pair of interface. So these concept list, set, map. So top level they have been defined interface, and this interface have a two kind of implementation, and one implementation about the read only, second about the mutable. So let's key we have a create the collections of object, and this collections of object is just pass in the to the method one, or my pass in the method two, maybe in the thread one, or maybe in thread two also you can pass the same collections here. So in this case, for a thread safety, general recommendation is that your collections should be read mode, so that all the threads, let's see, this is the T1 thread and this is the T2 thread. Okay, T1 can only read and T2 can only read. So we, if your object is kind of a read only mode, in that case you are is you cannot getting any kind of multi-thread problem like deadlock problem, concurrent modification problem. So this way support multi-threading concept and support fast access. We are generally recommend always you can. So we can say the first read mode interface provide the operation that access the collection element. Okay, and this is the recommended way until you don't in any specific region. My collections can be updatable and can be modified. Then we have to use the separate kind of implementation known as a mutable. So extend the corresponding read-only interface and provide the some write operation. Here in the collections, you have option you can add some element here, remove some element, some update elements as well as. So once first time, if the collection created, by default this is the read mode. If you want to provide some kind of update, remove, delete, so this by default read mode cannot allow to modify any kind of operation. If you want some addition, subtraction, then you have to create a separate kind of collections known as a mutable. So this is the kind of added different segregation about the mutable collection and not mutable collection Kotlin offer. If you're talking about the other language like Java, if in Java, if you're talking about list, this is by default are immutable. If you want to read mode, then you have to specify some different mechanism. But in the Kotlin, always default mode offer the immutable means read only object. So let us look about the complete hierarchy. What kind of we are talking? You are talking about the read only means immutable collections, and this is the mutable collections. So if you want to mutable collections, then you have to use the mutable list, mutable set, or mutable object. This collections API offer you to add, update, or modify the structure of collections. But by default, the collections is the read-only mode, immutable object, and they are list, set, and map. So these, if you are using the list, that means you are using the collections of object are in the immutable mode. All the thread can only read, access the element, but cannot update, cannot modify those element in that collections. And similarly, if you have a collections and collections have a set of value stored, and after to accessing these collections, you have to read the value, you have to read the value, you have to read. So for reading the values, all these collections are implemented at rebel interface or similarly mutable iterative instance. So this rebel collections offer you to retrieve, to access the element one by one. So please be ensure as what are the you are going to create collections, that is good, but please be ensure you are going to create collections only for read mode or updatable mode, modification mode. First take decision. By default, Kotlin recommend always create the list or set or map as a read mode, so that these collections can be easily passed to the multi-threaded environment and multiple thread can accessing it without facing any threading problem. So uh, uh, as per the diagrams, this is the collection interface, this is the top level interface, and this interface have a implementation by your kind of list and kind of set. So known as a collections is the root of the collections hierarchy, and this interface represents a common behavior of read-only collections like retrieving size, checking elements, item present. So all and these collections are inherited from the iterable interface. As the diagram show, so this defines that operations of iterating or accessing element. So please be, if you are using the list, the list is a kind of a sub interface or inherited from your collection. So all the common functionality, let's list needs some common functionality, set list some common functionality. So this common functionality are implemented inside your collection interface, and collection interface while you are inherited member are inherited in the your list and set. So if you're talking about how we can use this, so uh, Kotlin offered the list of, we can say, factory method which help us to you can say create a list or set. So let us example here. If you want to just function like function just print all element elements. So let's see this you are passing only uh, values, all collections, you can say values, types of let's see collection type of, maybe here I'm type of integer. Here you simply know these are the collections, and this collection interface are implemented from iterable interface. So here you can say you can iterate for item element in your collections function, and now here you can just print and whatever the value you are dollar your. And so in this is a collection, and this collection have a two kind of implementation, your set and list. So here you can just pass your uh, print all element, and here you can see a list of let's key I'm say key 1 comma 2 3 4 7 9, and you can say you can similarly say not list, I want to set of 1 1 this way, and if you run it, so this uh, collection interface, and you can pass the implementation of your list, implementation of set. So this is the your list, and this is your set. So all the common functionality, like if you want to size and something else, see here you can print. So let's discuss more about how the list is used and what the different way. So as example C, if just use the list of, this is the function, and here you pass the list of value like 2 3 5, and you can assign any uh, well list list 1 here. So in this way this is the list is declared, and if you want to find the what is the size of your list. Okay, so here we have a function like say this size is provide the collections. You can say print ln let's key size of list, size of collection. So all the values dollar, you can say value dot your size. So in this way you can use the direct collection method on your collection itself, or if you have a list of one, here you can direct say print list one size to other dots size. So they have inherited list one is inherited method from your collection interface, and now you can get the size of your file. You kind of so you have list is kind of a list store element in a specific order and provide index to access item. So indexes start from your 0 to the length minus 1. Let's see, this is the list of your 1, 2, 3, 4. So if you want to element this, so this is the 0 index for 0 position, 1 position, 2 position, 3 position. So they have offer you can get the index any index value. Okay, and this if you want to enter in this key in index value. So index value you can found dollar your list one, and here you pass the get function, and here you pass the your index. Let's I want to index second value. So in this way, index value index let's see second value I want. So in this way, you can get the index value of second. Okay. Here should be print ln. And if we have a two option instead of you are get index by your get method, let's see I want to this is the way array, and here you can pass the third position. Okay, so this is the also way you can. So Kotlin offer you can access just list out your get method, or just simply array positions and get your three value. So in this way you can access one by one element. Okay, and if sometime you want to the index of particular data, let's say I want to index of 5. So we have a like what is index of index of element 5. So you can say dollar your list one dot, this is the function your index of, you just apply the value what the object you want the index. So here the index of 5 will return this API. So this is the index of 4. Why 4? Region, this is the 0 index, 1 index, 2 index, 3 index, 4 index. So 5 value on the 4th index. So this is the returning of 4th index. So this is the set of a lot of methods available in this list object. You can just try and explore. So please be sure here list you can offer duplicate as well as let's here four. Okay. So here you can offer the duplicate data. So if you do the list one size equal to 7. Okay. So this is the kind of very handy method, and this is the by default list is the kind of immutable object. And if you are looking at the list, you want to set, you want to add, there is no any methods offered by the list one to change the list. Once the list is created, that list is immutable. You can only retrieve the value from the list, but you cannot change any value. Okay. So after the creation of list, once you create the while the creating a list, this is the blank, and you can create a list. After the creating list, you cannot this list object doesn't offer any method to modify. If you try if you have a this is the list one, then you can offer positions one. I want to a different value like 46 here. Yeah, okay, here is a no set method provided by the array access here. So please be ensure that the list of list collections does not offer any methods, and anyway you can change the value of your contain the value of the collections. If you want to change, I want to create some kind of collection that need to add, modify, or remove later. So instead of list, you can use a mutable list. There is a implementation of a mutable list. So here you can say this is not allowed, but here say I want to mutable list of like uh, 1 1 2 2 3 3 4 4. Okay, well m list one. Okay, here you just tell here you have options. Here you can just first print. So you are getting the list of your mutable list value. This is mutable list value. If you want to some remove, some add, these are the add function, like remove at positions, and maybe array positions you can change the value. So these are the some set of methods offered by mutable collection. So here you can say I here I want to mlist dot add. I want to add 99. And if you change to here, this value are added. So your collection is mutable. If you want to just not add, I want to just can say removes remove element. I want to remove 22 from element. So here you can say element was removed. So we have a different flavor, and the Kotlin offer to add in this way, or you can also add array positions. Let's see, I want the positions of two values should be 50 50. So they have both offer options. If you go to the position number 012, you are getting a 50 value. 012, you are getting a 50 value. So these are the kind of two kind of collections, mutable and immutable. So this is your mutable collections, and this is your immutable collection. The general preference always use your list implementation immutable. Okay, but sometime in our application needed to mutate your list later after creation, then usually we have to go with the mutable list. And so you say, as you see, in some aspect of the list is very similar to the array, and there is one important differences. about the array size defined up the initialization and is never changed. And list doesn't define the predefined size, and the list size can be changed as a result of write operation, adding, updating, and remove elements. So you can see suddenly sometime developer we are thinking list look like a array. Yes, look like array. Similar array index based data they are storing. But in the case of array and the case of collections of list of object, here you have to specify your size initially in array. Okay, if this number of element I want to put, but in the case of array list here collections, you don't specify any size. Internally, size is calculated by the number of element you are creating, and this size in the case of mutable collection can be varied depend upon the number of element you are adding, the number of element you are removing. So the list size can be varied depend upon the number of elements contains in the collections. But in the case of array is the fixed size and you cannot change the size even after the creation of array. So this is the minor differences, but you as a developer should know these are the kind of dynamic array, you can say runtime array, grow and shrink. Let's talk about the set. Similarly, we have a like a set of and set here. You can see 1 comma 2 comma 3 4, and this is the value set 1, and here you can say interval set 1. Here the value. Okay. Okay, let's this is the contain unit. Let's you are trying to put again 2 here, and then let's again test it. You are looking, you are putting 1 2 3 4 2, but your element is like unique 1 2 3 4. This 2 is discarded. So these collections are only used when you want to maintain the set of unique value. Okay. And similarly, all the functions of collection interface like size, index, anything, each and everything you are getting from the this list. All the operations here we are getting one element, setting one element. Similarly, you want to some mutable. So similarly here in mutable set, and here you can say like 1 1 comma 2 2 comma 3 3 set 1. Okay, println set 1, and here you have options you can again provide here dot add function, and you can pass like 55. This is the okay, this is the 55 added in the set. And if you want, let's key again, someone want to duplicate like here we have a 22, again you want to 22 add here, and you try to again print the value, and you notice that key this 22 again are not added, same original list. So seeing all the collections features are offered by set, but we have one constraint like the only contains kind of unique elements. Similarly, we have lots of options available for mutable set as well as. So by default, initially as a by default, your list interface implement your array list class. Similarly, by default, set have implemented a linked hash set implementation as a class. And linked hash set, that means we have an option like you can get a first element, a last element, a next element. These kind of additional methods you can get. And so this set also implemented by alternative by you has set implementation as well as. This is the alternative implementation you can say.
Set interface is implemented by linked hash set, and by default, an alternative implementation you can find like hash set as well as. So this is the benefit of that. The hash set requires less memory to store the same number of elements. So this is some hashing technique they are applying. If you go into the linked hash set, they take some kind of other stuff like you're maintaining the link first, last. This way, the memory consumption is higher if you're talking about the linked hash set, but hash set reduce the memory footprint. Let's talk about the map. I have just this is the again map contain the key value concept, but this is not inherent from the collection interface which we talk. So map Kotlin's collections type is a kind of different. A map store the key value pair, sometime lone entries, and key again unique, but the difference key can pair with a equals value. Means value can be duplicate, but key is always same. So let us look like how to create a map. So here is a map of and generally key and value. So you have to offer key. Let's key our key is the one and to value the string. So you send here one, and similarly second element here comma, and you find the second key and to value is equal to key 2. Similarly, let's get third key to value is equal to 3. In this way, you can say well map 1, and here say printed then your map. So this is the way you can create minor differences between the syntax and semantics. Only you have to offer the key, and this is the 2 and then the value. This is your key and this is the value. Similarly, key, value, key, value. And by default, again, this is the immutable. So you cannot, after the creation of map, you cannot modify. But sometimes let's give on to all the key. So we have a method like map one dot keys. So they return the your set of keys. So all the keys they return. Okay. And sometime you this is all the key. If you want to kind of all values, right? We have write all values. And here say a key. If let's here again to find a 4, 4 2. Let's key again 1. Value can be duplicate, but key cannot duplicate. Either of 1, 1. Your collection is this. But here if you try to say like add again like 2, 2, 2 like you have tried to lay 2, 2, 2, 2. So here you notice that key 2, 2, 2 keys, but you find the keys is only one key. And you notice that the first two value are overridden by the second key. Okay. So please be ensure that this is your kind of map. Your first key your 1, a value is your 1. Then second your key 2, then your value 2. Here you mention here 2. Your third value 3, your mention is a 3. फिर again fourth is a 1, new key, fourth is a again 1. And again say 2 is equal to, so here we notice that 2 is already available, so this value are going to update here. 2, 2 and 2. 2 key already available. So old value are discarded. Here say here 2 value is discarded and we are getting the latest one. This is the latest one. So please be ensure the last operations, if you want to add the first same key, the last value is updated reflected on your map. and sometime you can get the this is known as a complete interest set. This is the only key, this is the only values. Okay, so this way you can get a key, you can get a value, and sometimes map offer a benefit if you know the map, when you know the get and offer the key. You know, I want the value of your four key is a 4. You just offer the key and getting the value. So this is the one you can say API, get API, and get API take your key and then return the value. This is the kind of a constant time to getting the value from map. Okay. So these kind of you have some additional function you can check on that, as well as they offer also contains the particular key, contains the particular value, a list of methods offer map. So as per our use case, you can explore the available set of method. And here again, the if you want to mutable map, so you can again here say mutable map, and here you can pass any new object like 1 to 1 comma 2 to 2 mutable map here print map, and if you after that if you run it, you are getting only 2 element, and this is the mutable map, so you have options, you can add the new one as well as. So here you can say mmap.put. Put you have to pass any key. Let's say I want to key 4. The value would be 4. And after that you can print here. You can your map is updated. Now your map initially 2 value, now the 3 value. Or you want to remove some, you can update some. These are the some same mutable function offer. So these we ensure that the default implementation of map also is a linked asset. Okay, that preserve the order of element. So if you know the linked asset, a linked has map, these are the kind of maintain your element order in which they are inserted in the system. Okay, but the alternative you can use the hash map as well as. So saying have nothing maintain any element order. If we are using the hash map, so they are not maintaining any order. If you want to maintain some insertion order, so you have to use the linked hash map. The by default implementation of map is linked hash map. So till now we know the way the collections a list of a set of MIF are created. So know all these collections are inherited from iterator interface. So what are so different way available to access the value. Okay, so till now we have a read the method. So how these three way offer to first way as a simplest way, this is your collections, and each collections is the implemented iterator. You just implement get the iterator object, and here you can while loop and take the hasness method, check this iterator have some value, yes, through next get the value. So from next you are getting all the value. No, this is a look like your collections is a kind of set of values array, so you can use the for loop. Second was the first your iterator, second way using the your for loop, you can use the for loop and the get element, or third way you can say you have a lambda expression, okay, through which you can also implement. So let's example, let's give we have a ls list list of list of what this list, and here say I the first way list dot iterate your iterator, and here now this iterator offer one by one equal value take. So check your while loop this iterator has some element. If has element, just print then your iterator dot next return the actual your value. So in this way you can retrieve all the value 1 to 7, 1 to 7. The simplest second way you can say okay, this is the list. So instead of iterator, I am just for loop, and here say key element in this list, yes, and just print all the elements. Okay, so this is the simplest way you can get all the element. It works. It should. This is the second. And similarly as a collections of list, so offer a kind of a lambda expression. So here you say list lot, and you can just for each functions, and here you can pass a lambda expression, and lambda expression like take one element, and here the body you can search println here the element. So this is the way you can use the lambda expression. Okay, one lambda expression say if this element one in method take a same input as a one input and same year passed to another method. So you can write the same code like simplest way using directly printed and file it. It represents your current element. So and this way you can simplest way print your all the elements. So these are the some different flavor to access element from the collections. So general preference we use is the forEach and provide your lambda expression implementation that helps. And let's these are the some predefined, so you can say Kotlin offers some collections instead of creating manually. We have a kind of range from I want to a list of 1 to 10. So instead of writing here 1 2 3 4 5 7, we have an option. You can simply say I want 1 to 10, and this is the well ls1 list of 10. So this is the list of 10. Now here is your function. You can just this is the list. Here you can just list of just for your for each and just print it. So this way you can say key this syntax known as a range. So instead of manually you create 1 to 10, you have option. You can just use one dot dot and specify the range. So this is so this is the 1 to 10, all the elements from 1 to 10. Okay, and sometime here you want to not instead of you can say 1 to 10, I want like only uh, let's here for loop I want so element you can use in, and here say 1 dot dot 10, this is the list, and I want to just increment by not 1 increment by 2 so step, and here say 2. So I want println your e. So here you are getting element first element, and then Step 2, here step is by default increment 1 by plus 1 plus 1 plus 1, but here plus 2 plus 2. Manual increment you want, then you can pass here. Okay, 1, then 2, 3, then 5, then 7, then 9. In this way you can step over. So these are the steps. Sometime you want to not the increment, I want to decrement. So here you say that key for you element in this key 1 dot dot 10, I want to down. So just start the first position and you're down to, and I want to down to like 1 1. Okay, so down to from 4 to 1. Here is a print your element. So Kotlin offers some list ability here. Here 4 3 2 1. So instead of here you can say like step, you're gonna not one by one down, I want to two steps. So here you can also step like let's see, I have a 14 to 1, then step 3. So each three elements are stepping here, not one by one. So like a manually increment, decrement plus 1, 2, 1 here, 14, then 3, then 3, then 3, then 3, then stop. So these are the set of all the API which we know, they are include the last element. Sometime I don't want to last element, like here I want for element in one. This is option 1 until you pass a 10. So here 1 to 10 all element, but not including the 10. Here 10 is not included. So sometime you want to not include the last element, then you can use your until. So here you can see output. Your 10 element is not included. And here you have your option. So you want to like some step over, step let me two step over. So here you are getting two step over as well as. So here 1 through 9. So these are the some set of, you can say, very handy smallest code written to create some range of object, to create some collections using the range. Okay, so these you can use dot dot. You're starting your end. You want to increment is starting from 1 to 8, but not one by one increment, 1 to 2. So you have to step over, and this is the your positive direction. Some 1 to 4 to 1 down to areas the steps, and all these range utility are include your last digit. But sometime you want to don't include last digit, like for in the case of array manipulation or processing, you don't want to include the last digit, then you can use your until help us. So these kind of very handy kinds of range quick utility which create you the list of values. So these kind of quick and summary overview about the collections. So we know Kotlin as a library offer is the collections in the basically two mode, list contain duplicate, set contain uniqueness, and map contain your key value. Similarly, you have options, your modified list, your modified set, your modified your map. So if you want to only the immutable, then you can use the list set map, or you can use your if you want to update modification set, then you can mutable list, mutable set, mutable map. And these all collections are offered by To access the element from these collections, this collection interface is inherited from a table interface, and a table interface offer you can iterate one by one using the first normal get the iterator method, then check has next and that's next element, or you can simply use the for normal loop as a collections, or preferred way you can use the for each using the lambda expression that help us to read the access the all the element from the collection in a very concise way. And the list sometime you want to easiest way to create the list of some value from range, so range of our dot utility method to provide the quickest way to create and test some functions, some collections. Hope it's useful uh, collections information. And just my suggestion, please, if try to write some example and test these collections is working. And if you face any difficulties, challenges to understood it, please feel free to comment on my channel, and surely I will reply. And just suggestion, whenever we are doing some exercise, we feel comfort in the collections. And these collections offer a huge set of function and method that save lots time when you are doing actual application development. And these are really used collections. If you look at any live applications, these are the used list are used, collections are used, array list are used, S maps are used. If so, these are the very basic. And please be explored more and figure out all the available collection method. Here again, in the last, I would like to say thank you for watching this video.